Well, hey there, it's me again. It's another day, another afternoon out here in the garage working on the Jeep. So I've got my box here, showed up from Eastwood Supplies today, or eastwood.com. Gonna open that up and go through that. I'll show you what I got. I think I mentioned the other day that I took a putty knife to the frame and started getting that undercoating off, so I'm gonna finish that job up today. Get the transmission transfer case back over there outside so they can stop stinking up the garage. It smells like gear lube in here. And see if we can't start getting this primer job finished up with the real primer that we're gonna leave on here. So come on along, let's go make a mess and keep this project moving forward. All right, well, here's what I did. So I bagged them and tagged them. That's the transmission, that's the transfer case, that's the stick of the transmission. So I got to stick these outside for a little bit, so I just closed them up in a trash bag so that they won't be in the weather. And I had my little homemade roller here, so they are ready to go outside and sit out there in the Jeep graveyard for a little while. And now I can A, get rid of the smell of the gear lube out here, B, I can get back to working on the frame, and I'll have a clear shot at everything, and I'll be ready to, continue on with cleaning up the frame and then start thinking about getting that motor yanked out of there. So there we go. That's so far what we got done right now. Well, I got the box from Eastwood here, and I'm going to set you down on the bench, and I'll take the contents of that box out and set them up here, and let's see what we got. So we got our cleaner degreaser, a couple of quarts of that, and you mix that with water, as I understand it. We've got the internal frame coating. So this is the thing I was telling you about that we're going to spray the inside of the frame rails with. And I got several of those. So I have 2 Jeeps to do. Damaged lug nut removal sockets. I did not order those, so maybe I got those as a gift or something, I don't know. Here is my primer. It's got the funky application thing that's supposed to be all great. So there's the primer. I got 4 cans of that. Rust converter, so if there is some rust on the frame, that'll change it to be not rust. Rust encapsulator, so I think these 2 are different, so I ordered those differently, so I'll review those at some point. And then underhood black for the firewall and the underside of the hood. So there's all my goodies from Eastwood, and I will, I have no idea why I got those damaged lug nut removal sockets. They're not listed on the thing, so my guess is maybe I spent enough that they threw those in or something. So thanks Eastwood.com if you gave me a gift. If you want those back, you're gonna have to subscribe to my channel like everyone else, and like this video, and leave me a comment down below. And if you do all 3 of those and you want those back, I'll send them back to you. So promise. But I think they must have been, I don't know what the deal is, but anyway, so there's the haul from Eastwood.com. And there sits that dirty old thing, so I'm going to get started on it now, for real. Okay, well, if you've been paying close attention and looking over my shoulder, you've probably seen this blue tape line on the wall over here and just been a little curious what the heck is going on with that. So I'll show you what I'm doing. Basically, I'm kind of stepping out all the major parts of this process so I can kind of tell where I'm at. So I don't know if you'll be able to read this, but I've got the tub removal step here. I've got the drivetrain out. The engine will need to be out, so that's coming. So I'm kind of at this point right now. Then I've got kind of a major step here, the frame fully prepped. And then the frame painted, brake and fuel lines replaced, suspension all set up. At that point, I'll be ready for the new tub. So that's what I'm doing here, and I might do something to kind of keep myself, keep track of where I'm at. So partly this is for me to kind of know that I'm making progress towards the end, and I've got a lot of blank space there that I need to fill out. That's kind of the stuff that happens after the tub gets here. That will get into all the kind of really nitty-gritty details, the electrical system all sorted out, the engine fully rebuilt or whatever, the transmission rebuilt, the transfer case rebuilt. You get where I'm going with this. So anyway, that's what I'm doing with the blue chunk on the wall. And if we step back a little here, you can see I got a lot of blank space there, over there. A lot to do, but I am kind of making progress along here. So that's what I'm doing with the blue thing on the wall, and it's a Saturday. I'm waiting for the guys at O'Reilly's to get my order ready. I ordered another mask. The one I had, I thought, well, I broke it. It's in the garbage. So, and doing this, the dirt and the dust and the rust and all, I don't want to be breathing all that stuff in. So I'm going to wait to really do anything major today until I can go pick that thing up. It shouldn't be too much longer. It should be ready to go. I've got about that full 2/3 of the frame with the scraping and the paint and that mostly off. I found a couple of spots where, well, let's see if I could show you one here. So that spot right there, just a random high spot there that needs a little grinder work. Another one here, just some of these are just weld splatter that's on there, but you can't obviously get around it. So I'll take the grinder and hit a couple of those, and then the inside of this side over here's fairly got some rust stuff going on. So we'll sand all that down, and my goal today is to have the full back 2/3 of the frame primer with my initial kind of cheapo Home Depot primer. The reason I'm doing that in 2 steps, I'll just quickly explain, is as I was reading the stuff that I got from Eastwood there, that primer that comes with the 2, it mixes as it sprays stuff, I think is what it does. But anyway, it says basically once you open the can and start using it, unlike a typical aerosol, they want you to use the whole thing in 48 hours, because then all the gremlins come out. I don't know what happens after 48 hours, but they do want you to use it all in the first 48 hours. So I'm just gonna kind of make sure I've got a whole bunch of the frame ready to go when I start doing that, so I can just get through it all. So anyway, that's where we're at today, and I will touch in with you from time to time as we kind of cruise along here. But we're making good progress, and so I'll keep you posted as we go. Well, hello, and thanks for checking in on me again. I'm out here in the garage again, and it's good to know someone's looking over my shoulder a little bit while I'm working on this silly Jeep. So it's not a big project day today. It's, in fact, a Thursday evening, and it's been a week this week. So I had a big old trip over to Wyoming, and we about froze our tails off hooking up a digital sign over there for a customer. So I'm not really going to get any work done today, but I've just been needing to get out here and look at the Jeep again and kind of take an assessment and see what I want to do, focus on, what I'm going to plan to do this weekend. So as you recall, last week I got relief from the front body mounts, and basically even with the bell housing here, everything back from there is pretty much done on the top and the sides of the Jeep rails, of the frame rails. It's primed with, I wound up using the kind of rust inhibiting primer because I did have a little bit of surface rust that I wasn't sure I was getting all rid of. I did grind and sand and all that, but I wasn't really sure I got rid of all of that. So I thought I'd go ahead and use that primer to begin with, and then at some point we'll put a top coat of other kind of paint over the top of that, and I'll do a little research and figure out kind of what would be the best for that. So we'll get that coming in. So really I'm kind of at the point this weekend coming up where it's going to be time to get up here in this motor area and start working on that. So my plan is to get the wiring harness pulled off and out of the way. I'm going to pull the radiator hoses off. I've got my bucket up there where I was draining the radiator. So I'll make sure the radiator's all drained out. I had added an electric fan to this radiator, so part of the wiring will have to be to undo that. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pick me up a engine hoist and a block stand, and from the good folks at Harbor Freight, probably, because they got inexpensive ones and probably only going to use it 2 or 3 times. And then, so anyway, I'm going to get those picked up probably tomorrow, so I'm ready to go this weekend. And my plan will be then to get this motor out of here and take the rest of my kind of pile of parts, whatever I can get outside, get it outside. So I've got myself a little bit of room to work, and then probably the engine stand will have to go back here behind the Jeep and hold that block while it gets whatever work it's going to get done, which that will then free up the front section, the front third of the frame, to finish its work. And then we'll be at the spot where we can start kind of addressing the suspension. So the springs are new on this Jeep, but I'm going to order in some greasable shackles that are not taller shackles as well. Kind of, I got a little more lift than I technically need on here, so I wouldn't mind going down just a little bit. Drop that drive shaft angle down just some. So anyway, so that's kind of the plan, is I'll get those in and I'll start to work on the suspension. And then, like I mentioned, once I get the motor off and the radiator and the grill and everything off, then my plan is, once I have this top frame finishing done, is to just figure out a way to roll that thing over and do the bottom. And then before I roll it back, whatever I do on the bottom, I'll prime it, and then I'll do whatever paint I do, and then I'll flip it back over, and we'll be done with the bottom part of it. And then we'll paint the top and turn our attention back to brake lines and fuel lines and wiring, and then off we go. We'll be waiting for our tub. Now, I haven't gotten any updates on the tub yet, but they did tell me it was a couple months to get those, so I'm not worried about it yet. I'm not ready for it yet, but hopefully the boys back east are taking good care of that thing for me. I don't know if you notice or if you care what I'm leaning on here, but these are just a couple of 2x6s that I had that we took with us to Wyoming. So I was just unloading the truck while things were nice outside and brought it all back in. So anyway, I just had to get out here and look around a little bit, and I just thought I'd say hi to you. Thanks for sticking with me through this project. I'm trying not to bore you with too much of the gory details of this thing, but it is really, like I think I said the other day, it's really in this world we live in where everything is so complicated these days. I mean, when I look under the hood even of the Toyota, or heaven forbid if I pop the hood on the BMW over there, I just feel like I don't dare really touch those under the hood these days. Everything's computer controlled and there's all that stuff. But when I look at this thing, it takes me back to when, all my previous vehicles back in the day when I was a younger kid, where you could just work on them. You did all the work yourself. I can remember doing everything on pickup trucks and stuff. So that's part of the allure of this, I think, is just they're simple and they're easy, and it's rewarding to get it done and do the work yourself, and then kind of go drive something around that you worked on. So that's all I got for today. I think what I'll do is I'll wrap this video up and I'll get this episode in the can for you. And because the next time you see me out here in the garage, I think we're going to be getting into a pretty big chunk of work as we get this motor out of here. And, I've got some question marks about how all this comes apart. So I would expect if you're watching me do this, you may have some as well. So we'll go through this together and we'll get this engine yanked out of this thing, get it ready to get freshened up and breathe some new life into it. So that's where we're going, and that's what I'm going to do for this week. I'm going to, like I said, just get this video in the can and clean the garage up a little bit. And I mean, it's not horrible, but it is a little of a struggle. I'll just be honest with you, because it is winter. That's why we're not out working on the sailboat, is because it's winter outside, and I can kind of at least have a little bit of a heater going in here and kind of warm things up a little bit. But there's a lot of stuff that gets accumulated as you start to take all this stuff apart. I got doors and dashboards and heating units and buckets of parts and stuff, and it's just a constant kind of shell game to have enough room to work and not be constantly tripping over everything and so forth. So you kind of probably have heard me say a couple times, I got to clean the garage up, and I know that's probably not the most exciting thing, so I never make you watch me do it, but it is a necessary part of this process just to keep the workspace kind of somewhat organized, and again, just so you're not tripping over everything. So that's the plan. Tomorrow is Friday, and I hope to get my little bit of shopping done during the day and come home and be ready to just start my Saturday morning up with a big full pot of coffee and a bunch of really let's make some progress kind of work getting done. So that's my plan, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll see you then. Again, thanks a ton for keeping up with me while I'm going through this process. Hope I'm keeping you a little bit interested. And if you haven't done it yet, gosh, you know how this works. Hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Tell me what your Jeep is like, or if you've wanted one, or if you just think I'm nuts for doing this, whatever. I'd like to hear from you. So I'll let you go for now, and I'll catch you next time around.